Hello, this is Joe Pryor, the virtual real estate team, and I'm doing a series of videos on investing here in March 2020. Right now, I want to talk again about interest rates. I did that in an earlier video talking about the fact that rates will rise at some point, and right now we're getting down to historic lows. There is some volatility about it, but what I want to talk to you about is investor loans, which are typically Fannie Mae loans, and they're starting at 20% down. And as I've said in previous videos, as an individual, Fannie will let you have 10 mortgages. The first 4 are at 20%. Now, your personal home, if you have a mortgage on it, counts. Now, if it's paid off, it doesn't count. So in other words, we have 4 properties that we can do 20% down on. However, if you're dealing with a lender, they're going to give you a better rate if you put 25% down. So let's say your rates are 4.75% for a 30-year fixed investor loan, 20% down. Well, your 25% down loan is going to be, let's say 4.25, 4.375. So you're locking that in for 30 years. But that 5% represents quite a bit of money, and maybe you're trying to build up your numbers because you don't want one house, you want 5 houses, so that if one is vacant, the other 4 are cash flowing to protect you. So what's another way that we can get to that 4.25 or 4.375 interest rate? And that is what's called paying points. In other words, when you lock in a rate and it's 4.75 without points or origination or anything, that is the rate that you lock in on for the day. In other words, everything else, you can change it and make it different, but you're locking in that day's rate. So here's an example. Let's say that, and I've seen this recently, where going down a half a point only in interest rate, in other words, down to that 4.25%, cost you a fee of 1% of the mortgage amount. So look at it this way. If you have a $150,000 mortgage and it's 1 point, then you're paying $1,500 for that lower interest rate. Now, the normally way that I find if this is worth it or not is I look, okay, how much time does it take to pay back that $1,500? And very often it's about 3 years, or roughly around 3 years. So if that's the case, you've just locked 27 years into a lower rate, and you didn't have to put an extra 5% down. You know, because if that's $180,000 or somewhere around there, 5% of that is a lot more money of $180,000 than paying $1,500 for buying down that mortgage. So when we create a plan for you about investing in Oklahoma City, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about what is the best use of your money. And very often, right now, paying down that 1 point or whatever it happens to be, and we'll see what it is at that moment when you can lock your interest rate, can be the best investment that you make for the long term. Because guys, remember this, we're at historic lows. You can lock these things in for 30 years without changing. So if it's 4.25 or possibly even less, you got a heck of a deal, and you got cash flow, extra cash flow for a long time. This is Joe Pryor, the virtual real estate team in Oklahoma City, where our job, our responsibility is to build wealth for you so that you can have the life you deserve and the financial security your family needs.